right?
Dude, I remember like when Calvo started building the Vipers and he was like going 1,000 horsepower with them. And it's like, this is like this crazy thing. And now
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I can go down to the Chevy dealership and get one of those.
Yeah.
What?
And it's not, I mean, it's
What?
1,000 horsepower and it's over 800 foot-pounds of torque. That's insane. Those are insane numbers.
Just comparison to the Z06, though. The Z06 is 660 something. I want to say 66 horsepower, and then it's 444 foot-pounds of torque, where
Right.
the ZR1 is what, 1,064 horsepower?
164, yeah.
Jesus.
1,064.
And then the torque on it is double the Z06. Dude,
which is insane.
That is a
which
monster.
Is insane. And now it's got an estimated top speed of 215 miles an hour. Do you know it's a higher top speed than both of my cars?
That's wild. Yeah.
Hey, welcome back, 2CarGuys fans. So, real quick, every time we record one of these, John and I always have the same debate. We're always saying, who should kick it off? Should I kick it off? Should you kick it off? I wanted to kick off this one specifically this week because we're talking about a topic that is close to John's heart. The ZR1
near and dear, baby.
Corvette. How excited are you for this car?
Dude, I'm excited, dude. Like, this is going to be... They hit it out of the park, son.
So let me quickly say, I think I've been wrongly accused of being a Corvette hater. I don't hate the C8. I actually really like the C8. I like the platform. I just think that there are so many of them. But we see a lot of them.
Look, I 100% agree that there is a ton of C8s, and the more the merrier. You know what? I think that's awesome. That just means it's popular. People love it.
It is a popular car, and it's a good-looking car. And I will say, if you look at the car as a whole, right? I mean, you have to do a double take when you see it. It's a great-looking car. A lot of times, you think it might be, a Ferrari or a McLaren or something.
Look,
right?
Man, I didn't own 3 C8s because I hate the way it looks, right?
It's a great looking car. And I will tell you something that Chevy does that not everybody else is doing. So 2 things. 1, Chevy is constantly like focusing on the driver, right? So all the gauges and all that stuff is like surrounding the driver, which is awesome.
I feel like they got a little bit of that from Audi, right? Of all people,
bit.
I feel like they got that from Audi. Audi was like so focused on the driver, though, that they didn't even put the radio where anybody else could see it. At least Corvette did that.
Yeah. I mean, a little bit, right? But I will say the other thing about the car is that you can daily drive the crap out of that car. You know, I mean, it is a supercar that you can daily drive. For sure.
Man, I have been on the track on the C8, in the C8. I have driven the C8 in all kinds of different scenarios, and through the storms, through to car shows, to events, to everything. Dude, it's an awesome car, awesome platform. Yeah. They did it right. The only thing, my only dislike on the base C8 is the 4-cylinder mode. It's right. If you put exhaust on the car, if you don't change the exhaust, it doesn't matter. You'd never know it's there. You'd hear like a little click when it comes on and off, but you would never know it was there. When you put exhaust on it, though, especially headers and full straight like catback, you're gonna know it's there, and you gotta like drive it in manual mode everywhere at that point.
Let's quickly talk about the evolution of the C8, right? Because I mean, when the C8 first came out, everybody was really excited about it.
Yeah.
Right. And there was some, I would say, Corvette purists that were mad that it was kind of going away from the front engine and was going to the mid-engine. And yeah, I know you weren't. But when they changed it up, I loved it right when it came out of the gate. But the market got so flooded with it so quick. And
I mean, honestly, it was 21 before I put in my order.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, I mean, the market was already kind of a little flooded, especially in your area. Your area is a lot. You're not going to see a C8 around here as much as you are in Atlanta. But here in Auburn, Alabama, it's still a special car. I mean, just a base C8 still something you don't see all the time. And for me, it really wasn't about that, man. I wanted a mid-engine supercar that did those things, and the C8 does those things.
Right.
The only thing it doesn't give you is clout with your buddies. I mean, that's the truth. You know, you're not pulling up in something different than two other guys at the car show. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
But
you had both. You had the base, and then you had these Z06, right?
right. So I
To
had a
you, how
base.
much better was the Z06 than the base, or
It's
was
a
it
different
even
car.
better?
Different
Yeah.
car, man. It's a different car. They look similar, but they're different cars. The base car, I mean, you felt like it just needed another couple thousand RPM. Like it just felt like it was just topping out too soon.
Right.
I mean, it was quick, but it wasn't fast. You know, the Z06 was fast. I mean, it was fast.
Right.
I mean, it's probably faster than the Aston, by a long
Well,
shot.
anything's faster than the Aston right now because you got old Dayco
Well,
tires and can't put the power down.
Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. Baby steps.
Baby steps, a little bit at a
Baby
time, a little
steps.
bit at a time.
Yeah. But no, man. I mean, the Z06 though, inside the car, the creature comforts are pretty close to the same. Nothing really changes except for the sound is way more visceral. And I had full headers and catback on my C8, my base one, or it
Right.
wasn't a base car. It was a Z07 or Z51. And then I wanted a Z07, Z06. That's the only reason why I traded the car for the Aston, because I was like, I'm going to get a Z07, and that just never materialized.
Right. So between the Z06 and the new ZR1, which we'll get to in a second, there was the E-Ray, right? I mean, have we ever seen the E-Ray get delivered? There was a hype around the E-Ray, and it just kind of disappeared.
I mean, it was faster than the Z06 0 to 60.
It was
already fast. But the thing is, like, Corvette has come out with so many iterations of this thing that it's like, it's a car for everything. You want a David,
right.
you buy a base Z51 car, right? You want a like fast, like just 0 to 60 car with a little bit of electric power, you go E-Ray. You want a track focused, flat plane crank, crazy sounding, almost feels like you're in a Ferrari, but you're not. You get a Z06, and then obviously now we're coming along with the big boy, and I'm happy.
Yeah. So,
You know?
I mean, so you're talking about the Z06, right? In particular, and that was a really cool car when it came out, right? But I
Absolutely.
think one thing that people don't ever talk about when it comes to the Corvette in general is the fact that whether you get a Spider or the base car, you can take the roof
Yeah.
off.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's Targa from the factory. I like coupes. I don't really care for a convertible,
Yeah.
but I love having the option to just pop the top off and throw it in the trunk. And
Yep.
the fact that they give you a place to put it, how
And
many
it fits.
supercars are out there? And it fits. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many supercars are out there that you take the top off and it's like, all right, we're leaving this here and we're going to go there, you know?
You know, the only other one I can think of that does that off the top of my head is the Koenigsegg.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
A little bit of price difference, not a whole lot, but a little bit of price difference.
But let's talk about performance, shall we?
Right. So that leads us to the topic of discussion today, right? So we want to talk about the ZR1. So
big dog,
rewind back to the the launch of the Bugatti Veyron.
Yeah.
Remember when that came out and it was 1,000 horsepower and everybody's like, "Oh my god!"
2009, is that right?
Yeah, I think it's 2009
or 8, something like that. It came out,
and everybody's like, "Oh my god, 1,000 horsepower in a car! It's gonna be ridiculous, right?"
Dude, I remember like when Calvo started building the Vipers and he was like going 1,000 horsepower with them, and it's like this is like this crazy thing, and now it's like, oh, I can go down to the Chevy dealership and get one of those.
Yeah.
What?
And it's not, I mean, it's 1,000 horsepower and it's over 800 foot-pounds of torque. That's insane. Those are insane numbers.
Just comparison to the Z06. The Z06 is 660 something. I want to say 66 horsepower, and then it's 444 foot-pounds of torque. Where the ZR1 is what, 1,064 horsepower?
164, yeah.
Jesus.
1,064.
And then the torque on it is double the Z06. Dude,
which is insane.
That is a monster.
Is insane. And now it's got an estimated top speed of 215 miles an hour. Do you know it's a higher top speed than both of my cars?
That's wild. Yeah, I guess, I'm thinking that's higher top speed than anything I got right now.
but we talked
So,
about it, right? So
yeah.
it's a 7-liter V8. Here's the problem. The problem is it's gonna be a $200,000+ car. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I can see past the Chevrolet portion of it.
I'm
To
not
maybe
saying that I
make
can't see past the
spend that
Chevrolet
money.
portion of it, but it's, now okay, so here's the good part and the bad part about that, right? So the good part is, or the bad part is, it's a 200 plus, almost $300,000 Corvette,
Yeah,
right? The good part about it is you're
they're
getting
not
a
limiting
1,000
production.
horsepower for $300,000 or $200,000, right?
Yeah.
Um, if that same Bugatti is $1 million
Well, yeah, man, and that's the other part, like,
on a
you know,
production car.
when the
That's
base
unbelievable.
C8 when the base C8 came out, I thought this is gonna hurt the supercar market, and I really didn't see
Yeah.
a change. I didn't see a change. The guys that like supercars like watches, you know what I mean? Like, if you know, you
Yep.
know, kinda thing.
Yeah.
But, I expected it to do something to that market, and I said when the Z06 comes out, it's gonna do something to that market. Nothing really changed. It was just an
No.
addition to that market. Same guys that are buying, $150,000 cars are buying $150,000 Corvettes. I mean, same guys.
So
Um,
I'll correct you a little bit there. I do think that it opened up the market to people who maybe weren't in the supercar community before,
yeah, no,
are
absolutely.
now in the supercar community, and I actually think
Yeah,
it's a good thing.
I do
I
too.
mean,
Hey,
it's a whole bunch of people, and I've said this before. I mean, some of the friends I've met since I bought my Aston are probably some of the closest friends I have. I mean, I wouldn't have met
absolutely.
you if I didn't meet John
Yep,
through buying my Aston, right?
absolutely. And same thing for me. I wouldn't have met you if I hadn't met John through another
Yep.
car guy. And so,
Yeah.
you go through it, and it's like you meet all these car people, and it's like you just click with who you click with. And
Yep.
I mean, if you like that type of thing, man, and you got the same passion about stuff, and you're all like minded, I mean, it's like, I mean, that's your best friends in life. You know what I mean?
I
Like, it
I mean, I
really is.
honestly think that it's good for the car community to
Yeah.
have these guys coming in, right?
Right.
Guys and girls, right? Coming in that are interested in these cars that may
Yeah.
not have seen, they may have seen Lamborghinis and Ferraris and Astons and McLarens as unobtainium, right?
Right. And
And they see Corvette as maybe not unobtainable, which,
right.
it's kind of blurring the lines at the moment, but I
Yeah,
think it's an awesome car.
dude. Th- can you say that again?
I think it's an awesome car, man. I do. I think it's an
Which
awesome
part?
car.
How
I
far back are we going? Like Z06 was awesome, and then all the rest of it was pretty cool too, or
I mean, so I've always liked the car. I've always thought it
I
was an
know.
awesome car. I wouldn't own one right now. I wouldn't own a I wouldn't own a base Corvette. And the only reason I
No.
wouldn't own a base Corvette is because I see too many of them in my area, right? I would
Right.
potentially own a Z06, but I'd have
Yeah.
to get a great deal on it, and I'd want to make it a track car.
Right. And it's kind of one of those things, like you start picking together your collection, and for me, the Z06 was the top car in my collection. I mean, as far as
Yeah.
money goes, as far as money I've put out. And I'm thinking, man, I want to have, 150 grand tied up in a Corvette, and what the market's going to do now that the ZR1's out. And
Yep.
like, sure, would I buy a lower priced C8 Z06 now? Absolutely. But I think I will wait and see what the market does, because there's going to be a correction. We saw it
There
with the
is,
base
but
C8.
the
You
the
know,
reason I say that is because if I picked up a Z06 today,
yeah,
I can honestly tell you that if we went out to the garage to go to Cafe and Octane, or we went out to the garage to go to one of these other car shows, I'm
yeah,
probably not picking the C8 over the McLaren or the Aston, right?
right,
It doesn't mean that I wouldn't want to drive it, because it's a driver's car, and I would
yeah,
definitely want to drive that car. I'd probably drive it more than the other two, because I see the other two as kind of like special,
right,
like special event stuff.
right.
But I think it's an awesome car. I would love, 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 love to get behind the wheel of the ZR1.
Absolutely.
I think
Me
it's
too,
probably going
man.
to be the craziest car that I've
Dude,
ever driven.
I'm jealous of all you YouTubers out there that are about to get to drive this thing, because, man, I want
Yeah.
it.
We
If
might
y'all need
see.
somebody, I know I have a McLaren shirt on. I have plenty of Chevrolet Corvette t-shirts. If anyone from GM hears this, please reach out to me. You can reach me at 2CarGuys podcast at gmail.com. Oh man. But no, dude, it would be epic. I mean, it would be epic to get to drive that car. And look, if you pull the rarity out of it, you just
Yeah.
pull the rarity out of the C8 and you make it just as hard to get as a McLaren and all this other stuff, and you make Chevrolet not the dealer, make a Corvette dealership, like Corvette is the brand. I think that you would have a whole different thing. The part that's really hurt me in the Corvettes hasn't been the car. The car's been amazing. It's been the dealerships.
It's been the image.
And the image is not that big a deal. I don't really care. I don't really care what people think. I want to enjoy the car.
I don't mean the image about what people think. I mean the image about the fact that, okay, so here's the only stigma for me, right? Is amazing car, amazing technology, crazy horsepower, drives great. You could daily drive this thing. It looks great from the outside, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, people look at it and they're like, that's a Corvette, right?
Right.
I'm kind of with you. And Hyundai did this a while ago, right? Hyundai spun off the Genesis group.
Yep.
And just had like a Genesis dealer and just did Genesis stuff, right?
Yeah.
I almost feel like Corvette should almost be like a standalone brand.
Absolutely.
And especially the direction they're going now.
Right.
Because they're building stuff that is supercar killers.
Yeah. It's at that level now. And
think about it. One of our friends just got a car delivered this weekend for his birthday, and it's 1,000 horsepower, and it's probably going to be 3 times what that Corvette costs.
Absolutely. Yeah, but we haven't heard the price yet. So we're all speculating.
Speculating.
I'm tired. It's been a long day, and I can tell you all about it. But
it's been a long day.
It's been a long day. Yeah, that's why my face is glowing, because I literally am sunburnt from Caffeine and Octane in Atlanta, and I drove home from Caffeine and Octane today.
Yeah.
So, but needless to say, we're all speculating what the price is, and the truth is, I'm hoping it's around $200K. I'm hoping it starts like $190, and spec'd out you're at like $230. Because the cars it's competing with at that level,
that it's going to be in the same level as the GTD.
I don't know. What's the price of the GTD?
$300,000.
I would hope that it's less, because they're coming with something behind it. That's going to be the $300,000 car. And if that car is what I think it's going to be even crazier.
Which is nuts.
Yeah.
What's really funny about this, and it's a very, very like stereotypical thing to say about Chevy, but I think the supercar market told Chevy that you can never sell a supercar. You're a muscle car brand. You'll always be a muscle car. You never sell a supercar.
Yeah.
And they kind of said, hold my beer, watch this, right?
Yeah.
And then they built the supercar. They built the C8, and everybody said, well, it still doesn't beat the Huracan, it doesn't beat this, and it doesn't beat that. And they said, all right, then they built the Z06, right?
Yeah.
And now you're starting to see like the SF90, the Revuelto.
The cars
they're 1,000 horsepower, and they're $1 million cars, right?
Yeah.
Or close to $1 million cars. And Chevy said, hold my beer, watch this. I'm building a 1,000 horsepower car.
And right here in the US of A. Thank you.
Unbelievable.
It's crazy.
You know what's really funny? I just watched an episode of Top Gear the other day. They said that America can't build supercars.
Well,
it was an old episode.
I was gonna say, now look, if you look back on previous generations, and this is what I think happened. So, the Viper ACR is my like pinnacle car.
I don't think I've ever heard you talk about that before.
Yeah, right. If you're part of the channel, I'm sure you've heard me talk about it. I want another. I'd love to have an ACR Extreme Aero, but Viper doesn't make cars anymore, and I think they don't, because Corvette was like, hey, by the way, you might want to stop. We have come with something that's gonna just plain destroy anything you make from this point on if you don't redesign the whole car. Right. And Corvette was doing sales at the time. Viper was not, and so Viper had the rarity, but they were very comparable in cars. The ZR1 of C6 or C7, the C7 ZR1 and the Viper ACR Extreme Aero are very similar, like specs on paper. And that's what they used to bat the car off of. Well, when the Viper died, they're like, what do we do now? And they're like, oh, we just pick any Lamborghini. We're going to compare to that. Oh, and the Porsche.
Yep.
We'll compare to that too. But dude, wow. 1,065 horsepower.
I'm telling you right now. So
Dude.
I think we went through a period where there wasn't a whole lot of exciting cars coming out for a minute, you know?
Right.
I mean, they made a joke about it on Grand Tour about, going to some of these car museums, seeing these cars, and would you really want to see cars from like the 80s? You know?
Right.
And then I think we're in a period right now where people are, I don't know if it's because of the access to technology.
Yeah.
Or if it's just because the passion has kind of come back to cars. We're starting to see some cars that are just unbelievable, one after another, after another, after another, And this is an awesome car, dude.
And I feel like cars are kind of like in seasons, right?
Like
you'll see one that's like a really, really good season, and then you got a really, really not so great season. We've gotten through the not so great season. Now we're getting back into that good stuff.
Yep.
But I mean, dude, the stuff that they're coming with, and I mean, hats off to Chevy, man. You guys, you rock, man. Thank you for doing that. Hopefully at the time that the ZR1 comes out, we are financially stable enough to be able to buy one. That's all I can say.
I mean, to be truthful, right? When I think about like the ZR1 and all that stuff, it's such a cool car, and I kind of want to own one, But in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, what else could they possibly do?
Well,
and what's interesting is we're not hearing anything about, Chevy going to an all electric vehicle. We're not hearing anything about some of these other, going to an all electric vehicle. In fact, the fact that they came out and did this, it's awesome. I mean, hats off to Chevy. I love it. I love it.
I agree. And the other part too is, from my understanding, and now that we've only seen the initial release, is that they're doing this power with no hybrid assist.
No hybrid assist.
So no all-wheel drive either. So it's a rear-wheel drive car making over 1,000 horsepower on just good old-fashioned 93 pump gas.
So dude, I got a quick tip for Corvette owners. Don't put 18 date code Bridgestones on there.
Ooh. So they're not 18, they're 19 date code.
Sorry.
The car is
19 date code Bridgestones.
This is the thing. They have plenty of tread. They look great. They just suck. And what we're talking about, I've got a 2019 Aston Martin DB11 AMR. It's on the factory tires. And let's just say they are hockey pucks. And this weekend I found out how bad they were. Just riding along with Adam and his Vantage with new tires.
Yeah. He tried to pull away from me, and I not only caught up with him, but I just walked right by him, and he was screeching the whole time.
Yeah, it was just spinning tires the whole time. I'm like, okay, this is fun. And I'm just fighting the wheel, like, oh, he's close. Here he comes. oh, here he is.
Just sawing at the steering wheel, just sawing the steering wheel.
It's like driving a Viper, man. It just, that's how I like it.
That's why you like it.
That's why I like it. It hits me right here.
That's why I like it. Well, listen, I'm excited to see it. I know our listeners are excited to see the car. I'm hoping that we will start to see more and more about this car. I can't wait to start seeing, some people racing it against some of the other heavy hitters out there.
Absolutely.
If we get our hands on one, I know somebody who's got a Revuelto. I'd love to see the two of them go head to head. Oh man, that'd be a hell of a race.
We're gonna have to find a track.
Well, I've got a airport that we can use.
Oh, even better.
Even better. So yeah, but hey,
look, man.
This is, like I said, this is one of those opportunities where I think that this is going to be something really good for the car community, really good for people in general. I think it's going to draw more people to get, some of the Corvettes, because it'll start to bring the price of the other Corvettes down, and that's going to bring more people into the car community, which is more friends for us. I'm happy about that.
So y'all join us.
Yeah. So if you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. I hope you're as excited about the new Corvette as we are. We've got some interesting things coming up. I'm trying to convince John to let me review his DB11 against the DB12. That'll be a fun video.
It will be.
It will be a fun video. So, come back
drive
for
a DB12
more.
down here.
Yeah, yeah. Come back for more. And thanks again. And we'll see you on the next one.
Appreciate it, guys. Hit that button. And if you like the Z06 and the ZR1, I meant the ZR1. So if you like the ZR1, hit that button. Tell us what you like about it, what you don't like about it, what's your favorite Chevrolet Corvette generation, and even more. Just tell us all about your love for everything automotive. We'll talk to you later, guys.
Later.